Welcome to All Things Financial with Jack Driscoll. Each week, Jack takes on all things you thought were hard to understand about your finances and makes it fun, easy, but most of all interesting. From insurance to the best way to save your money and squeeze the most out of the dollars you put aside for your rainy day. And now, you have a friend in the money business. Here's your host, Jack Driscoll.
Welcome back again, everyone, to another edition of All Things Financial. Welcome to a new year. As you know, we are halfway through the month of the new year, so most of us have probably already broken our New Year's resolutions already. But for those of us who haven't, or those of us who haven't formed them, I like to take the start of the year. When I talk about New Year's resolutions and the start of a new year, thank goodness we're here to enjoy it, and it's our responsibility somewhat, I think, to reevaluate and really think about, why is it we go to work every day? We're trying to provide for our families and we're trying to protect for our families. That's really why we choose to do what we do. Otherwise, we'd rather be fishing or golfing or hunting or sailing or traveling or vacationing or just staying at home. So we do want to make the most out of if we're going to work and we're leaving our families and we're not at all times during the day doing exactly what we personally wish to do. I think there comes a time, and the beginning of the new year is a good time, to evaluate and reevaluate. Why is it we're doing this again? And are we getting out of it what we want? So in the area of financial planning, especially at the beginning of the year and making resolutions, my first thought always that I like to communicate is, if you're in a 401k plan or any employer matching retirement plan, I want you to up or increase 1% by 1% the contribution election that you make in that retirement plan. So whatever percentage you're contributing, I want you to up it by 1%. That is a very simple, probably will be even unnoticed by you, change that you can make. And it's a very easy one. It's automatic. So once you make the option, whether or not the employer will match on that additional 1%, to me, is not a relevant factor. The relevant factor is it's a simple way for you to ramp up your investing by a small increment that will be unnoticed by you and have a much more profound impact on your retirement because of so many years before you retire, theoretically, and that money getting put to work for you. Especially when we deal with how far we're falling behind, I think, due to inflation, due to taxes, due to health risks in retirement. We need every advantage we can get. So that's my first tip to everyone in the beginning of the year. My second tip deals with you're still able to, and I want you all to be aware and remember that you're still able to contribute to an IRA or a Roth IRA up until the time you file your taxes as late as April 15th and still have the tax deduction qualify for the prior year's income taxes. So let's talk about that for a minute. Number one, there are two general forms of IRAs, Traditional IRA and Roth IRA. Both have their values and they're very valuable. The Roth IRA is one that you contribute up to $5,500 a year. If you're over age 50, there's a catch-up provision of an additional $1,000 you're allowed to contribute. So up to $6,500 a year into a Roth IRA. There are some income limitations, maximum annual earnings, before that actually preclude you, if you earn above that, from contributing to a Roth IRA. But aside from that, you can contribute up till April 15th or when you file your taxes and still have the Roth count as a 2016 or the prior year's contribution. Now, you do not get a tax deduction on your tax return for making a Roth contribution. But it's a use it or lose it contribution. So if you had a last year's tax year and you did not contribute to a Roth IRA, there forever goes your chance. If you miss it for last year, you can't get last year back again. Why is that important? Number one, it's an additional year of compounding because you started 1 year earlier. Number two, the Roth IRA rules say in order for all the proceeds to be tax-free when you pull them out, you have to have attained age 59 and a half and had the funds in the Roth IRA for at least 5 years. So starting earlier starts your 5-year clock. So that's sometimes a benefit there too. So we want you to start those, or we want you to consider if you need the tax deduction on last year's tax return. Because now that it's the start of the new year, you can contribute to a traditional IRA up to $5,500, and again over age 50, the extra $1,000 totaling $6,500. And that contribution to a traditional IRA is indeed income tax deductible on last year's income tax return. So if you're in a 20% income tax bracket and you contribute $6,000, that's equivalent to a $1,200 tax refund to you on your tax return with a stroke of a pen. It's a major, major tax deduction that you get. The trade-off, as opposed to the Roth IRA being tax-free when you pull the money in retirement and not getting a tax deduction on the original contribution, the trade-off with the traditional IRA is you get the income tax deduction now, but all of the proceeds billed tax-deferred, not tax-free. And that means when you pull those monies out, you are required to pay income tax on the monies as they come out. You're not required to pull it out all at once. You're not even required to start pulling it out until you reach age 70 and a half. And even then, you only have to take out small increments. So it's not a big deal, but it is a factor in retirement planning. Do we want to strategize tax planning now, later, or both? So those are my second tips for after the first of the year when we talk about financial planning and New Year's resolutions. Number one, increase your qualified plan contributions by 1%. Number two, maximize your use of traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs. Number three, I listen all the time to and hear ads even on most people and most families don't have enough life insurance. So I want to talk to you about that because, again, when I talked early in the show about why do we go to work? Why are we spending all this time away from our families? It's actually to provide more for our families, as you know, and to protect our families. So I want to help you do that. I want to help make sure, are we getting the most out of our time at work? Well, number one means, are we saving enough of our income toward our own future? Number two means, are we building enough retirement assets for the day we can no longer work? Number three means, are we taking advantage of our group disability income options should we no longer be able to work or even temporarily not be able to work due to a disability? So I want you to max out on your group plans for disability, and that's everybody. We run into probably the biggest, weakest link that I see in financial planning. Financial plans are only as strong as their weakest link, as I've said in many shows. The biggest link in many plans is disability income link is actually ignored, never even discussed, never addressed. So there's no protection for disability income. Statistics will show, and I've said this in other shows, and I'll continue to say it again, at least when you have an account, let's say at work, and they give you the big laundry list of which options you want to take on your voluntary plans. So you get to choose eyeglass, dental, disability, life insurance, all these options. A lot of people choose the disability, but a lot of people don't. So I'm imploring you all to go there first, because that's the one that's most expensive to do on your own outside of the company plan. It's easy to open retirement plans. The only thing you lose there is the match that the employer would be giving. But it's very expensive to get the disability income plans that are offered through your work on your own. And on your own, you have to medically qualify, and a lot of people cannot qualify on their own for disability insurance. So that's the big one that I want to hit as my third point here. Take advantage of maximizing your time at work and making the right elections to make sure that your family's protected if you cannot work. Tell your spouse the same thing at their job if it's available through them. Now, we get to the next area of protecting the family, and again, making sure you're making the most of your time at work, solidifying your financial resources and protection for your family, which is, again, my premise on why we do it. So we get to the area of life insurance, and most families don't have any life insurance outside of work, or nowhere near enough life insurance if they do. Many people just buy term life insurance, good for 10 years, let's say, and that coverage many times comes and goes and it expires and is never used. Thank goodness. That's our goal, you know. Our goal is not to use up life insurance within the period of time that they allot. Our goal is to outlive our life insurance somewhat, but that creates its own risk. Because if we outlive our life insurance, then something happens to us and our spouses or families are still dependent on our income or our ability to continue to earn income because we didn't adequately fund retirement, we've crippled our surviving heirs, our family, our remaining heirs. So what we do in that case is we back up a little bit, especially at the first of the year, and we say, wait a minute, if something happened, and you and I both know people in the prior year, last year, that are no longer with us, who were with us last year at New Year's. You know it can happen to them, and you know it can happen to you. We just don't want to think about that. But it will happen to somebody listening to this show, participating in this show throughout this year. Which one, we don't know, but it will happen to somebody. So at the beginning of the year, we start to rethink about how do we protect our family if it happens to us. And the number one ways are what I'm prescribing on the show. Increase your retirement savings, contribute to your IRAs, maximize on your group benefits, especially the disability income, and relook at the life insurance protection that we have, not only through work, which we do want to maximize, but I don't want you to depend as much on the life insurance at work as I do those other benefits. You know why? The reason is that life insurance is not easily what I call portable. If you change jobs or if you get disabled, lose your job, the life insurance policy does not follow you free. They'll offer you the opportunity in many cases to buy the life insurance. But again, if you're disabled or unemployed, you can't afford it, so it's going to drop anyway. What you can do is buy insurance on your own with a premium waiver feature, which means if you're disabled, the premiums will be picked up or waived by the company, so the policy stays in force, and that policy you own. So no matter who you work for, you're paying the premiums yourself and building up a tailor-made policy that you designed yourself that's individual and easily portable. I want you to look at life insurance that lasts forever, but sometimes we can't afford that. So we have to buy term life insurance. No matter what type of life insurance, call our office. I'll help guide you through the different forms of life insurance, how to program your needs. How much is enough? How much is too much? How much can we afford? What's the best type to buy? All of those types of questions we can help you navigate. One of the key questions, how much do we need? The easiest answer that I know of for starters, for a starting point, is how much income do you have coming in? Whatever that is monthly, Almost all your needs are driven by that. Your retirement needs, your disability, even unemployment, or if you prematurely pass away. Here's how we look at that. Financial planning in concept can be very simple. And here's where I see that it's simple. All plans, I think, can be built based on what are you earning monthly. Whatever you're earning monthly typically is how much needs to continue coming in whether you're working or not. So all of these contingent plans, this retirement planning, these IRAs, the disability income, the life insurance, guess what they are? They're really just self-completing plans if you don't make it. So let's talk about the retirement planning, the IRAs. At some point, your paycheck will stop. That's the thing I want you to think about in the beginning of the year. When you're making New Year's resolutions, realize something that you probably never realized or haven't thought much about. I never realized, yes, our income is going to stop someday from the sources it currently comes, because that's our paycheck. We didn't realize our income's going to stop one day. It's going to either stop prematurely, unexpectedly, or it's going to stop expectedly and by planned results, which we call retirement. But one day or the other, the paycheck will stop, and it needs replaced by something. So what we do is we put those provisions in place in advance. The one that we want to plan for, properly time for, and have plenty of time supposedly to prepare for, is the retirement ending of the paycheck and seamlessly passing the baton to our retirement plan assets to resume the income as we leave off the employment check monthly income. You see how that works? We're passing the baton to our retirement assets at the time we retire in a planned event at a time we prescribe ourselves and say we've built up enough assets to continue that check uninterrupted. Our life moves on continuously and seamlessly, uninterrupted. That's one discontinuation of a check. Another one is premature discontinuation or severance of a check. That's unemployment. A third one is premature, unexpected discontinuation or severance of our paycheck, which is disability. It's health related. We cannot work due to a controllable factor or uncontrollable factor. Either way, we don't have any checks coming in. And we can't pay our mortgages and our bills, and people's homes get lost due to bankruptcy, and life is ruined. Where if you follow my early tips, if they're available through your company plans, you get the disability income protection. If it's not, you call our office and get an individual disability income replacement plan. One way or the other, you don't leave yourself bare and exposed to a risk that's very, very real. Whether it's certain or uncertain, likely or unlikely to happen, it is possible and devastating if it does. Now, if you're disabled for 1 month, you might manage through it. If you're disabled for 1 year, you probably won't. If it's permanent, you definitely won't. Because there go all your future contributions that would have been made to Social Security into the Social Security system for retirement. There go all the future contributions to your retirement plan at work. There go all your future contributions to your IRAs that you were doing. Life is in upheaval. It's completely turned upside down and inside out. So we protect against it in advance. That's one of our New Year's resolutions. Provide for our family, protect for our family. Reevaluate the links in financial planning. Yes, I know most of you have never done financial planning. That's why I put out this show. And then the last one is premature, what else can stop your income? Premature death of one of the breadwinners or the spouses that bring the income home. And there is where we use, obviously, the life insurance to replace assets. So there comes the question, how much? If you make $2,000 a month, how much life insurance do you need? And the easiest way that I know to look at this number, it's all income replacement, folks. All of this is just income replacement. In retirement, if you're laid off, if you're disabled, if you die prematurely, it all boils down to one thing: income replacement. How much assets do we need to continue our income if our job can't do it? That's what it's all about. It's easy. It's easy to say, it's easy to calculate. It's hard to do because we have to calculate this big lump sum of money. But if we have enough time, it's like a lever moving the world. If you have a long enough lever, it's not that heavy. So we look at this. If we have a long enough lever, which is time, the retirement burden is not that heavy if you start early and if you stay with it. The disability, you could buy the insurance for it. So you don't have to lever it yourself. You're using very small premiums to cover a very large potential need that you have that's very unlikely, so the premiums are low. So there, that problem's solved, and it didn't even hurt you much. The life insurance, here's how to calculate it. If you have $2,000 a month, you can only buy life insurance. You can't buy life insurance in a monthly amount typically. So you have to buy a lump sum of dollars. So you say, how much lump sum of life insurance do I need? I'm really only trying to make sure we keep having our $2,000 a month coming in. In that case, I'm going to share with you how I would suggest. $2,000 a month is $24,000 a year. I am discounting taxes for this discussion. $24,000 a year is 2.4% interest on $1 million. And I can't trust that we can earn any more than 3% interest. So to keep the money safe, I'm going to tell you, for every $1,000 a month that you need in income, you need about $500,000. There, that was easy. Whether you buy term insurance now for starters and build into a permanent plan or go straight into the permanent plan, buy the initial immediate coverage now and then evolve it later. We could teach you how to do that if you'd like to call our office. All right, folks, that's my New Year's show. There are New Year's resolutions: provide for our family, protect for our family, make the most of our time that we're going to work, and get the most out of it. Folks, I appreciate your tuning in to another edition of All Things Financial. I'll be back again next week.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through SagePoint Financial Inc., member FINRA SIPC, and registered investment advisor. Insurance services offered through Driscoll Insurance and Financial Services Inc., which is not affiliated with SagePoint Financial Inc.